All right, I've left these Wall Street guys, these Occupy Wall Street guys, alone for the most part because they're basically ineffective, basically irrelevant. I expect them to go away when it gets cold and they'll stop hanging out in the park and doing their protest thing. But some of it gets annoying. And one of the most annoying parts of this Occupy Wall Street thing has been how unorganized they are in terms of ideas. They don't seem to have anything that's unifying them. But if there is one theme that I am finding more often than not, and it's still not a unifying theme, it's tuition. Free college tuition for all, or a blanket forgiving of all student loans that are out there. I mean, I even heard it on NPR this week on a show called On Point. It was a big interview with 3 of the Occupy Wall Street folks. One of them even called for open revolution. We get no challenge from NPR. Remember, guys, revolution's ugly. It usually involves a lot of death, no matter where it's been. There's not a lot of really nonviolent revolutions. That's another point. But one of them was just all over this tuition point. We've got to have free college tuition and student loans have to be forgiven. So I just want to take a second and tell you why that's one of the worst ideas I've ever heard from the Occupy Wall Street guys. Start with this. First, I don't know if you can imagine how impractical such an idea is. First this. The idea of forgiving that much debt from the banks hold it, that private institutions hold this debt and they're going to just forgive it. You're looking at causing another absolute financial collapse. I looked it up. The Department of Commerce has a study, fairly recent, that has the national student loan burden. People just like you and I that hold student loans. We have about $1 trillion in debt out there. And these banks that hold that debt, if they hold any of it left, the federal government holds a lot of that debt, they are counting on operating on you paying it back, which is so weird, right? Because all you did was tell them you were going to. All you did was sign a little piece of paper that had a promissory note, said, yeah, I'll pay this money back. And for whatever reason, they think you're going to do that. Isn't that absurd? Right. So the federal government, if it owns some of that debt, the banks own the debt, they're operating in a way where they're expecting you to actually do what you said you were going to do. And if we just decide, well, you're not getting the money, you're looking at causing another financial collapse. We're missing $1 trillion that we thought we were going to operate on. We don't have it anymore. You could cause a very big problem. Second, the federal government. Some people are just saying, well, let's not forgive it. The banks make the banks forgive it. But we will have the federal government pay for it. We'll just tax the rich, and they will subsidize the forgiveness of all student loans and just free college forever and ever and ever. Yet again, you're looking at causing a financial collapse. We already have a debt downgrade. You remember that? We have our credit rating is no longer AAA. That's because of debt. So you're saying to the federal government, we'll just go $1 trillion more in debt and just forgive everybody's student loans. You're going to cause another meltdown. There is no practical way to do this, even if it were the moral and the right thing. There's no practical way. Money is real. It's not fake. We just can't sign something and make it go away. Now, the second part of this is I cannot fathom why you are blaming the banks for your student loans. The banks have done nothing here except expected you to do something you said you were going to do, which you should be doing. You said you were going to do it. If you're going to blame anybody, why the banks? Why are you down on Wall Street? If it's anybody's fault, it's yours. You did it. You made the choice to go into the debt because you thought it was worth it for the product you were getting, or maybe you just felt like it was the right thing to do for your 4 years of college. Whatever reasoning, you did it. You are responsible as a young adult in this country for your decisions, especially financially. But if you're going to blame anybody else beside that, blame the colleges that you went to. They're the ones that marketed the loan to you. They're the ones that signed you up for it and said it was the most important thing you could ever do, and that you need to do this college thing, and they made it look like it would never be a problem and promised you you'd probably get a good job when you left, and if you have it, why is it the bank's fault? They don't market these things at all. They're not out there looking for you to come get a loan from them. The colleges are the ones that market them. And if you're not going to blame yourself, and if you're not going to blame the colleges, blame the federal government. They're the ones that insure these loans. They're the ones that not only insure them, but subsidize them for artificially low interest rates, and some of these loans with no interest rates. They're the ones that made it attractive and less risky for you to do it. So it's at least the federal government's fault. The banks are the farthest removed from this problem. It's on you first. The banks are the last folks that you need to be protesting. So it's impractical. That was our first problem with this. You're misplacing the blame. But then also, what about the morality of this? Why do you deserve someone else to pay for something for you? Whether or not they have it, someone else has the money, whether the money exists, whether it'd be an easy thing for the country financially. Why do you deserve that? What have you done to deserve to take money from another human being? You don't have that right. You don't deserve that. The best advice I could give to the Occupy Wall Street folks, especially for those that are whining about college tuition, especially for those whining about their college debt, do it yourself. Be an individual. Be self-sustaining. Be responsible. And do it yourself. It's your fault if you're sitting in it. For those that aren't in it, just avoid it if that's the problem. But it's a completely intellectually incoherent argument to either eliminate all student loan debt forever and ever. Amen. Thanks for listening.